Derivation of the equation of an ellipse. So, here is our ellipse. With the coordinates of focus 1 is negative c0, the focus 2 is c0. So, from this point on the ellipse to pf1 plus point on the ellipse to f sub 2 is equal to 2a. That's what pf sub 1 plus pf sub 2 is equal to 2a. So just transpose this. So pf sub 1 is equal to 2a minus pf sub 2. So using the distance formula, so from pf sub 1, that's square root of x minus negative c, so x plus c squared, plus y minus 0 squared, so that's y squared, is equal to 2a minus this one, yung distance na po from here to here. So, square root of x minus c quantity squared plus y minus 0 quantity squared is y squared. Next thing, since we have radical signs for both sides, let's square it sa left and sa right. So, here at the left, matanggal na ni ang square root na sign o ang square, leaving x plus c quantity squared plus y squared. So, let's expand this one. X plus c times x plus c is x squared plus 2 times cx plus c times c is c squared, and then this one plus y squared. Here at the right side, is square na to. 2a times 2a, that's 4a squared. 2a, and then 2 times 2a, that's 4a times negative square root of x minus c quantity squared plus y squared, that's negative 4a square root of x minus c squared plus y squared. And then this one, negative square root of x minus c squared plus y squared times negative square root of x minus c squared plus y squared is positive. Then matanggal ang radical sign, mabilin, is x minus c quantity squared plus y squared. Let's expand x minus c quantity squared. That's x squared minus 2cx. Then c squared and c squared is x, c times c is x, c squared. And then lastly, the y squared. Okay, so let's combine them, ang mga the same nga mga term. So here at the left side, na x squared. Here at the right side, na po x squared. If we're going to transpose that, that's x squared minus x squared, which is equal to 0. So, let's cancel this one. Next is the 2cx. In the right side, natay negative 2cx. If we will transpose that to the left, 2cx plus 2cx is 4cx. Next is c squared. Natay c squared sa left, napod sa right side. If we're going to transpose that, that's negative c squared. So c squared minus c squared is 0. So tanggal na pod niya siya. So y squared na sa left, napod sa right. So transpose na to sa left. Y squared minus y squared, 0. Leaving 4cx is equal to 4a squared minus 4a square root of x minus c quantity squared plus y squared. So, para cx na lang mabilin, let's divide both sides by 4. So, mawala na sila, 1 na lang mabilin, 1 na lang mabilin there. So, leaving cx equals a squared minus a square root of x minus c quantity squared plus y squared. Let's continue. So, mani siya, we left here. So, next is we're going to transpose this one to the right side. So, may mo siyang positive a square root of x minus c squared plus y squared. Next is also we will transpose this one to the right. So, a squared minus c squared. We want to get rid the kaning radical side. So we will square both sides. So a times a, that's a squared. Square root of x minus c quantity squared plus y squared times square root of x minus c quantity squared plus y squared ang matanggal ang radical sign. So mabilin x minus c quantity squared plus y squared. Let's expand this one. X minus c times x minus c is x squared minus 2cx, and negative c times negative c, that's c squared plus the y squared. Next is, let's expand this one. A squared minus cx times a squared minus cx, that's a squared times a squared, that's a raised to the fourth times 2 times a squared times negative cx, so negative 2a squared cx. And lastly, negative cx times negative cx is positive c squared x squared. And then, let's distribute this a squared to sa tanan. So a squared times x squared, that's a squared x squared. A squared times negative 2cx is negative 2a squared cx. A squared times c squared is a squared c squared, and a squared times y squared is a squared y squared. So copy the right side. So let's combine the same term. So ang parehas ra dire is negative 2a squared cx and negative 2a squared cx. So if you're going to transpose that, may mo siyang positive. So negative 2a squared cx plus 2a squared cx, may mo siyang 0. So let's solve this one. Leaving a squared x squared minus, so transpose this one, c squared x squared, so negative c squared x squared, and then a squared y squared, a raised to the fourth, and then transpose this one, na mag negative a squared c squared. Next step is pagawas na to ang common sa ila, which is x squared. So ang mabilin, a squared minus c squared times the quantity of x squared. Then copy this one, a squared y squared. Here at the right side, ang the same nila is a squared. So pagawas na to ang a squared. So a raised to the 4 divide a squared is a squared. A squared c squared divide a squared is negative, it's c squared. So minus c squared. So we will pause here, and then we will let b is equal to square root of a squared minus c squared. Then b squared is equal to a squared minus c squared. So kanina value a squared minus c squared, we will let it as b squared. So this one, a squared and c squared, kaning sa left and right, mahimo nag b squared. So again, mahimo nag b squared ang a squared minus c squared. So from here, quantity of a squared minus c squared times x squared plus a squared y squared equals a squared times the quantity of a squared minus c squared. We will replace it to b squared. So may muna siya b squared, and then x squared plus a squared and y squared equals a squared, and then this one is b squared. After that, we will divide it both sides by a squared b squared. So divide na to both sides, a squared b squared. So here in the left, ang tanggal, so 1 na lang yun sila. So x squared, and here plus matanggal dire is ang a, 1 na lang mabilin, and then sa right side is leaving 1. So the standard equation